How you doing there, Mr. Worldwide?
How's it going, Mr. Nino?
What's up, Baldy?
Ay, mi madre de pinga. Nino, you know this lady?
I'm sorry?
Do you know her? You know who she is?
Yeah. I've known Tilly for a little bit.
Okay. So how's it going? How's it going, Mr. Nino? How you doing?
It has been going pretty good. I have been kind of doing my rounds, trying to. I've spoken to a good portion of the citizenry, but I have now opened up my rounds with members of the police department. I don't really believe in going into like a meeting where like, you know, it turns into like a game of like main character syndrome, you know what I mean? Like as if we're on like some kind of TV show and someone wants to say like dumb shit. I want to actually have like one-on-one conversations and conversations like groups of officers and ask them how are things for you? What do you want to see out of a mayor? What are the problems you see in the police department? I'm gonna keep like your name is not gonna be brought up. You can be very transparent with me, and I want to know if I become mayor, what is it that I can do for you? You get my vibe?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, listen, I'm gonna keep it very simple with you. I'll be honest. As a police officer, the one thing I like is when people have transparency. You know what I mean? When
Agreed.
you are just straight up as a mayor. If you as a mayor, you say what you gotta do, and you don't beat around the bush or say something to please people. Obviously, you know, I know you're a politician. Okay?
Yep.
So obviously you're trying to win the mayorship and you gotta say what you gotta say right now.
Yep.
But what I'm saying is once you become mayorship, okay, and you become the mayor, I wanna see you be transparent with everybody in the city and say how it is. And say what you're gonna do straight up. Okay? Because a lot of people just like to, you know, they like to sound sweet. They like to sound sweet to please you. But then when they sound sweet behind your back, they don't do shit that they said.
I don't disagree. I mean? That's why I told Slacks he's a fucking dumbass and he probably should be fired. But
I me matter.
Yeah.
Okay. And the second thing, okay. Some police doesn't mean anything. Okay.
I'm sorry. Say it. Could you speak just a little bit louder? Are you talking?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna stand.
Can you hear me right now?
Yeah. I can
Is that good? Okay. I said just because I'm police, it doesn't mean shit. Everybody in the city should be given the same opportunity and be treated the same. Okay, because a lot of people, you know, they want to treat you differently because of what type of power you're in. You know
I love Sab, by the way, but Nino's on one with him.
Doesn't mean I'm above anybody. I believe that every police has to follow the law. Everybody has to follow the law. And that stands for everybody. And the third thing, I don't want to see a mayor that's going to become a mayor and start writing some bullshit fucking laws about fucking you cousin and goddamn fucking adoption. Okay?
Yeah.
I said it. What that gonna do for the city? Nothing. I said it. Que me pinga me pasa a mí. Que pinga importa de un adoption y un adoption. I mean, I don't give a fuck about adoption. You see what I'm saying?
I'm with you. So I'm gonna tell you a little bit. So first and foremost, I am not gonna fight for your vote. I want you to vote for who you think is going to be the person that is the best for the city, right? But I'll let you know what I'm aiming at. Number one, believe it or not, is transparency. There's a couple things I'm tackling, but there's three main platform points. One is transparency. The way that's gonna go down is financial records for the state, where money is going. I want every month, anybody in the city, there will be a published document with visual graphics showing where the average pay is. So if G6 was paying $1,000 for 1 week and $3,000, all of that's going to be factored in. This is how many people are working there. This is how much money is going there. This is how much money is going on average to the police department and how much people are getting paid per capita. So you see where all this is. You see how much money is in the state account. You see, I want all of that to be very public so that you as the citizenry don't have to go and say, I want to know something. Now I got to go find the guy that can give me the state Excel sheet and then do all the work I want done in advance so any person can just look at it and know what's going on. Number two, I want to pass a referendum that makes it so that before legislation even hits the desk, before it's voted on by the council, the entire city knows what's being voted on. And then when it is voted, it is going to be shown who voted and which way they voted. And not by putting it in some like hidden document. It's going to be plastered on social media for the, you know, the pre and post vote. So now all of a sudden the city is engaged. If they have a strong opinion on it, they can go and tackle their council members and like petition them one way or another, or whatever needs to be done. Thirdly, I want to make it easier for the people to actually do a vote of no confidence, so that if someone like myself is not doing their job, and we hit certain bullet points, literally it just becomes a vote. Do you want him out? Yes or no? Done and done. You know, none of this fucking bullshit. Number two, in regards to legislation, I am looking to repeal and alter the majority of legislation, which is mostly just a bunch of bullshit that is written by a bunch of folks that seemingly can't read or write. I want to get rid of this adoption bullshit, anti-mime bullshit, rewrite the business shit that just turns people into criminals. And as I try to mention to law enforcement, make the laws and the legislation make sense. Make it hold the law accountable to the rights of the people, so that the law is not creating criminals unnecessarily, which means more calls that the PD needs to respond to unnecessarily. Puts them in a position where they're having to fight in court over dumb shit, right? Because the law is so vastly gray that no one knows if it's right or wrong, and the decision is made by a judge that is going to rule completely in one direction or completely in another, right? And I don't mean like 20-page, dossiers. I'm saying, what does it really mean to own a weapons license? Like,
okay, 100%.
Third is going to be making the lawyers legislators, so that even the PD can have its own lawyer, for example, and you can lean on that lawyer to write up new legislation that then gets peer reviewed by the other lawyers. So when it hits the desk of the consul, we only spend like 30 minutes on debating whether it's right or wrong, because it's already done, instead of 4 hours writing some dog shit, right? It just makes sense, because your lawyer is going to know what the PD needs in legislation. Like, if Tilly's running a flower business and she's having problems with like growing shit, her lawyer is going to know what needs to be done more than 8 motherfuckers. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And finally, the Department of Commerce, that is going to be the ones that are going to be reviewing all business proposals, approving them, disapproving them, with reasoning, and if it's declined, with a what steps that business needs to do to change to get it accepted. And all that's going to be publicly available. So like if I say, Mr. Worldwide wants to start a gym, right? And let's say I like him, right? And I just approve it. And I'm like, he's cool. Now you have a reason to get me out of office. Why the fuck are you giving Mr. Worldwide a business just because he's cool? Like, what are the merits of the business? Or if I deny it because I'm like, he smells bad, you can be like, well, he's denying Mr. Worldwide because you just said he smells bad. Like, you know what I'm saying?
That's true.
So
You want to keep it fair, 100%.
yeah. So what do you think is lacking in the police department? And I know you're relatively new, but it doesn't mean your opinion isn't valid. What are you seeing that's working, not working? What do you think the government can do to help support the PD?
I tell you right now. I don't know if this is something that maybe you guys could do in the mayor.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to be honest. Accountability, because a lot of police, like I said, just because some police doesn't mean nothing. Nobody's above the law. A lot of police be going around doing whatever they want to do, or pressing charges they shouldn't press, or fucking people over. I always say, just because you can fuck somebody doesn't mean you should fuck somebody. You see what I'm saying? So the number one thing is 100% accountability.
Agreed.
Okay. What else? Other things with the police department? I would say the structure. The structure, I think it's getting there. The BCSO just became a thing not too long ago.
Mm-hmm.
I think the structure isn't bad with the police department. But I think the main thing will always come down to accountability. So as long as there's accountability, then everything's good.
Okay. I like that. What Do you think the government should be involved in ensuring that accountability is in place?
I think so because I mean sometimes even the highest power in the PD needs accountability. You know, and if somebody's the highest power, who's gonna give them accountability if they're the highest power? Like for example, if the chief of police is not doing his job correctly, I mean, if the government, the mayor doesn't step or somebody doesn't step in, then who's gonna stop him?
Agreed. I can tell you right now, it's a little unknown as to the level of autonomy and the level of power I will hold. I am looking to prove that I can maintain the power that the past mayor had with greater responsibility. I do not want a commissioner that is a fucking, super soldier that is using the police department for his bidding. I want somebody that's day-to-day focus is making sure that it is being communicated what the citizenry wants down to the police department, right? And for the police department to use him as a means to explain what's needed and for that commissioner to be able to push it up. In other words, I want someone who's an executive, an actual commissioner, not someone that can just grab a class 2 firearm and go after his enemies. And I think
100%.
that inherently increases transparency via communication, which leads to, on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, improving the state of things. Because right now, even civilians and PD relationships are bad. Unfortunately, some officers think it's because they don't want to go to jail or, a bunch of excused victim blamey reasons, when in the reality is I think most people just want to know why they're being charged and for it to make sense for them being charged and not need to go through the avenue of like, go to bench trial, go to thing because you disagree.
I feel that shit, bro. I feel that shit, exactly.
Yeah. And that increases the health of the police department, right? Because I don't think anyone is ever going to be, on that mag dump season bullshit if when they get charged, they can explain why the fuck it's going one way or another. That's all I think most people want. And it's, in combination of sensible legislation, right?
Listen, also, one thing I got to tell you, when you become, I don't know if you can do anything about this when you become mayor, but if you become mayor, I feel like something's got to be done after the appealing system. I just feel like the appealing system and like the court, I don't know if that's something you could do, but
Could you
it just
explain?
isn't great. Like, for example, you send somebody to jail, there's never a lawyer, rarely, sometimes there's a lawyer, but it's mainly judges. Oh, judge is not around. Okay, brother, appeal that shit.
Agreed.
See you in 5 months. See you in 5 months, okay?
So that's I now have my fingerprint on 10% of legislation, and that was done in the last 2 weeks. The new FOIA process is a side effect of me arguing with PD High Command and causing Alan Crane to show up, and I had a massive argument with him, and eventually got this FOIA thing pressed. It may seem like nothing, but for us lawyers who defend 99% of the population, it is the first step by which we can actually do anything. The reason why you're not seeing appeals and things are taking so long is by the own admission of both ex-Captain Slacks and Assistant Chief Ruby is, well, we don't need to legally even give you anything. So that is not the attitude I'm looking for, and which is why I want both of them gone. Now they can come back and resolve things. They can come back to reality, but if that is the attitude you have towards the people you are hired to look after, then you are not the person for the job. I'm sure there's a desk somewhere you can keep warm instead. And 100%,
so protect and serve, and that's for everybody. We're supposed to protect and serve. Also, one more thing, I want to touch on accountability.
Mm-hmm. There is no accountability.